Now, here's my final point. When I talk about these specific solutions without blame, people kind of nod their heads and they go, okay, Steve, problem is it's too complicated, it's too hard, it's too expensive, it's too this and it's too that. Well, folks, I refuse to take no for an answer. Since when did Americans begin accepting defeat? Since when did Americans include in their vernacular too hard, too complicated, too much work? We should not be the first generation of Americans in the history of this country to say to anything. We just commemorated the 50th year of the assassination of one of my favorite presidents, John F. Kennedy. Many people remember that John F. Kennedy, after the Soviets had launched Sputnik, a few years later, he gave that brilliant speech where he said, don't worry, by the end of the decade, we will land man on the moon. Remember hearing that? By the end of the decade, we will land man on the moon. And again, he must have been thinking about Long Island because we landed man on the moon. But people forget what else he said in that speech. When he gave that speech, he didn't go to the Congress and talk to a bunch of politicians. He went to a university. He went to Rice University in Texas, stood at a microphone and said, by the end of the decade, we will land man on the moon, and then said something else. And I want you to keep this in mind when you hear too hard, too complicated, too expensive. He said, we choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they're easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one which we intend to win, and the others too. I intend to win these challenges. Somewhere in this room, I know it, is a Leroy Grumman who's figuring out how to defend America from a cyber attack. Somewhere in this room, I know it, is a Jonas Salk who's figuring out how to protect the elderly from the ravages of Alzheimer's. Somewhere in this room is the talent and the skill. And what we need to do as a country is quit blaming each other for our failures, accept failures when they happen, because that's what you have to do, but continue to forge ahead based on solutions and to find our willpower again as Americans. I want to thank you for giving me an opportunity to fight for those partnerships, for that vision, not to go to the moon, but to continue to make this country the greatest on earth. Thank you all very much. God bless you. God bless America. Thank you.